And I would like to ask Isaac to join me because he's the moderator for the next session. He's the manager activation at GroupM. Please, the stage is yours.
Thanks.
And a big round of applause.
Hi, everyone. I'm sure you've been having a wonderful time here. Interesting conversations so far. While the panelists start to get ready, this, as in the last two sessions, the importance of media quality and responsible media came up a few times. And I think it's one of the critical points of the media ecosystem at large. We have a couple of interesting experts, I would say, personalities that would be joining us here on stage. If you just come in. Just a quick minute, introduce yourselves, and on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest, right? How important would you say this topic of MFA is for you? If you want to start, let's start with.
Yeah, I can start.
Yeah.
So, hello, I'm Hardy from PubMatic. I'm the country manager for the central region, and in my role, I'm responsible for nearly all the topics that we have on the buy side, but as well also on the publisher side. And I try to connect between these two roles. And from, let's say, 1 to 5, it's nearly to 5 because it's very important for us, but we don't see this issue, I think, so huge in Germany, because there are a lot of strategies we are already driving straight from the beginning to avoid this issue.
Hello, my name is Philipp or JP Hinrichs. I'm Senior Director at Integral Ad Science. I'm leading the agency partnerships and development in Central and Eastern Europe. And Integral Ad Science is one of the global vendor for measurement and optimization, always to get quality impression and to drive super results. And thanks for having me today, and thanks for the invitation. And the numbers, sorry.
Yeah.
I also agree. So also for us, it's nearly a 5. And also, I would say, also covering the Central and Eastern Europe, a lot of countries, differences, nuances, depending on the country. But in general, it's a big topic from a global perspective, and I would say it's a 5.
Hi, my name is Daria. I'm VP Publisher Solutions in OMS. We are a channel partner and ad tech provider for publishers, and we give them different monetization solutions. And our main way to improve their revenues is through traffic shaping algorithms, identity solutions, and bid enrichments. We work with hundreds of publishers, and I would say that the importance of MFA for us in terms of the noise in the industry, it's 5. But as in terms of the impact actually on buy side or sell side, I would say that it's very low, because there has been already a lot of algorithms in place to basically not expose this inventory to premium sellers. So yeah, so it's 5 in terms of the impact.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Margarita. I'm working as Customer Success Manager at DoubleVerify. We are a global ad verification and measurement company, and I'm in my role responsible for onboarding brands, both directly as well as through the agency partnerships. And yeah, to the number, of course, it's a 5 as well. We are seeing a lot of interest, both from brands, from our agency partners as well. And we are really working on our solutions, on improving them, on meeting the need in the industry for transparency.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. That, I mean, the level of importance across the board is quite high, honestly. And I think it still runs, like, it's still based on the fact that MFAs are it's quite nuanced, and it's a bit confusing on how to define this and what exactly an MFA is. And there are multiple explanations for this across the board, but I just want to know, to start with, how would you define MFA? I'll start with you, Hadi. And when, obviously, by your ranking, we know where you stand on the debate, but what would you say is the best definition of MFA for you?
I think it's a combination of different points. So for us, an MFA website is a website with less content, with a low value for the viewer, for the visitor, and is having, for example, less organic traffic, is getting traffic from broad strategies. And we are also working with some partners in the market like John's Media, where we collaborate to define different additional parameters, how we identify or define MFA sites. So for example, MFA sites we have seen have a much higher volume of ad requests and bids compared to a regular site. So for example, a regular site versus an MFA site has 100 times higher volumes of ad requests and bids because they have a higher frequency of refreshing ad slots, etc. And these are different parameters where we can say, okay, this website is more going into direction of MFA site, and then it's a topic that we move on to improve and make transparent in our system.
Agreeing with what Hardy is saying, and I would also say that MFA sites are very attributed by clickbaits, by very controversial content, and always very, very catchy headlines. And I also would really, it's very important to differentiate between MFA sites and ad clutter sites. MFA sites, the main strategy is an arbitrage strategy behind. So getting and buying traffic, probably very cheap, and try to excessive monetize these traffic. And it's always a question about more content, more quantity about quality. And also, what is the purpose of a site, of an MFA site? It's to get the ad dollars and not getting good content. And also why I'm saying to compare with ad clutter. Ad clutter is also important for us in the industry, and it's more spammy because of kind of ad density and other topics. But it's more about guidance together with the industry, together with the publishers, to solve best practices for the advertisers. And this is totally opposite on MFA sites, because it's an arbitrage model behind. And why I gave a 5, we see at the moment at the 21% of the ad impressions are going to attributed sites of MFA sites. And that means 15%, and you have to mention 15% of all ad spends. And we are talking about $22 billion. And this is quite huge. And we say that these dollars should be going into the really correct industry.
Very interesting. Before we get to you, Daria, Margarita, would you want to quickly define what an MFA is from
yeah, I
side?
absolutely agree with the definition, with the IAB definition as well, that MFA sites are employing monetization practices in order to maximize the ad arbitrage gains. And as you mentioned, nuanced approach, this is very important for us as a measurement company. We are measuring, we are trying to give transparency to the advertisers to see what they're buying, so that they can have a holistic picture, holistic view of their buys. So we are not saying here we are for, we are against MFA sites. We are trying to just give the full picture, and we are using our proprietary technology to do that, because we combine both human expertise in the domain field with the AI, with the machine learning powered models that can identify characteristics of MFA sites, such as high ad density, frequent ad refresh, paid traffic sources, low organic traffic, as well as poor site content, clickbait, any sites that are designed for endless scrolling, trying to keep user on site, as well as any duplicated content that is shared across multiple pages.
Interesting. From a sell-side perspective, actually, Daria, do you say anything different from this definition? And is it also categorized in the same way for you guys as well?
Well, I agree that we are actually kind of looking at the MFA as more like made for arbitrage rather than made for advertising, because we believe that in the end of the day, every domain to at least some extent is made for advertising, and this is basically how we are providing value as programmatic buyers and technologists here to the web, is that we are basically enabling content to be free of charge for the dollars that are coming in. And obviously these dollars are very lucrative to bad actors, so we would I would say that definitely we are lacking clear definition, and also for the publisher, because I know many publishers who have been labeled MFA without actually any guidance of what are the next steps, how do they actually navigate out of this, and really helping and seeking for advices. So I would say that we would more categorize it as made for arbitrage businesses who know exactly what they're doing in terms of buying and then selling for much higher revenues. This is one thing. And second, I think that all of those guidelines of the content ratio versus ads ratio, the uniqueness of the content has been already defined by so many platforms, buyers, agencies, so many years ago, that those publishers have been already seeing very, very low traction from valuable advertisers. So we haven't really seen a big decrease in the spend of agencies or of SSPs, brands. So hence I would say that we would definitely categorize, just cut out those actors who are there deliberately made for arbitrage, and then we will kind of cherry pick the inventory which is there from the legit businesses, which are legit publishers, and who have got you know, great user engagement, and will be kind of less strict on that.
It's interesting to see the different perspectives and the categorization, actually, because I think in looking at as JP mentioned, there's like the MFAs, which are like which most advertisers are really seeing as MFAs, but also the other sites that are like ad clutters as well, and which are not necessarily MFAs, but gets to be treated in the same way and same likelihood as both as well. And just staying with you, Daria, why are MFA sites popping up? Like what's
Yeah, I think that first of all, it's very low barrier of entry. So basically, you know, you're buying inventory and you're selling, you don't really need very big investment. That's one thing. I think second is the different contacts widgets, which basically on one side integrate very well in the content of the page, but on the other side have got very low standards of the quality of the creatives and ads and what kind of inventory they are passing through. And also I think that actually contextual ads also kind of in the way producing this, because when we look at the budget, so the biggest budgets will come from finance vertical, and that already triggers some of the publishers, you know, pop up different businesses around these specific verticals, and then just have traffic passing by. And I think that's actually many even events. I know that many there were many domains created for the US presidential elections, which are obviously made for advertising purposes, just to you know, earn on this heated topic. There was many sports publishers who popped up in Europe around Olympic Games. So we see this coming here and there in terms of the trends of the content. So I would say that the content, contextual advertising, and then knowing exactly where the budget is also something what triggers MFAs.
Do you agree with the same thing, Hadi, with why MFAs are?
Yes, and some additional points. For example, MFA sites are hitting some specific KPIs, so that are in the focus of campaign optimization. So sometimes they deliver a higher viewability, so they offer the need that there is a high demand on need traffic with high viewability, these kind of KPIs. They are looking for lower eCPMs, and on the other side, I think the ad fraud strategies became a little bit smarter, because they are delivering traffic from real person, and sometimes real person don't know how they have landed on this page. So it's getting smarter. It's hitting some KPIs. And I think everyone needs to look deeper into the real results after that.
Yep. From a consumer perspective, actually, it's also very annoying seeing certain ads on certain web pages as well. But JP, like from the ad verification point of view, right? How easy is it to spot this MFA site? And overall, what is the impact on quality? What is the main impact on media quality and and brand?
I would say, yeah, it also was mentioned previous. So the generated AI makes much more easier to create and develop sites like MFA sites. That's very controversial content discussions at the moment. We have wars, we have elections, we have events, sport events, etc. So it's even more controversial in the content in general. And we see if you are using or to try to avoid MFA sites, you can really see it in conversion rates. So, for example, compared MFA sites versus quality sites, we have a 174 higher conversion rates on quality sites compared to MFA sites. That's heavily big. So, and also a discussion about quality, but also about a discussion about cost efficiency. But at the same time, the cost of conversions are also lower on quality sites compared to MFA sites or also even to ad clutter sites. So it's not a question about to choose between quality and cost efficiency. I think it's both, it's a mixture. And so what we all mentioned, the increasing of MFA sites makes it much more important to have a look about this. So as an industry.
It's interesting that you mentioned AI in driving the growth, but before we continue, Margarita, how about the use of AI in supporting the site and tackling this issue? Do you have a POV on that, and how AI can be used in tackling rather than how it's been used to further growth?
I mean, against AI creating MFAs. So it's also using AI to avoid MFA sites. Yeah. So we have, for example, an advanced machine learning tool with segments to avoid MFA sites. And if you learn and analyze these sites, you can also via AI can prevent these percentages of segments via almost 0%. So it's also AI against AI, and it's already in place.
Interesting.
And I think when I may add something, I think this is a very good point. So when there is the knowledge, so how a campaign performs, and I can start changing my bidding behavior, for example, then I use this in my next campaign. And what we do at PubMatic, when we see that the bidding behavior is changing, our machine learning also taking this information, realizing that this is a website that gets less bids, and this is what we do, that we remove and reduce the traffic from these sites in our offering. So we are learning from these initiatives.
Interesting. Margarita?
Absolutely. We only can fight fire with fire. We only can use AI to fight AI because, of course, new sites emerge like every minute, every second, probably. And we can only find them at scale when using AI-powered solutions. Of course, with human oversight, with human classification. And what we really think is important is a nuanced classification approach. So it's not just a yes or no, like in an exclusion list, for example, but rather a tiered approach. Like we offer 3 risk tiers for MFA sites: high, medium, and low risk. So the advertisers can determine which level are they ready to accept and which level is fine for them, and what do they prefer to exclude. As well, using pre-bid solutions, it's very easy to exclude the publishers they don't want to work with by one click in the DSP in pre-bid. But yeah, I also wanted to touch on the viewability point, because we are seeing a lot of high viewability on MFA sites, which doesn't mean it's good quality, because you need to always consider also ad performance, engagement. And when we are looking into attention, we are seeing 28% lower attention on video. On display, I think it's around 7% lower, but still it's significantly lower compared to non-MFA inventory. And Besides that, also, as mentioned before, environmental impact is important to consider for advertisers that are concerned about sustainability, because we are seeing a very high ad load on MFA sites, and of course, these sites generate a lot of carbon emissions because of that.
Interesting. Do you have any points to add on this, Daria?
No, I think that we're all aligned here.
Yeah. Do you want to say something, JP?
It's a really good point what Margarita already mentioned. So the carbon emission compared MFL sites versus quality sites, we see a 73 lower carbon measurement or emissions via quality sites. So it's a huge impact because of the instant auctions MFI sites are using. So yeah, it's a big topic for the environment and for the whole industry, and to get the money to the right persons and companies.
And based on this, do you think that at large, right, advertisers, should they reconsider their approach to programmatic based on this topic? Is this enough for advertisers to reconsider their approach?
I would say in general two things. So what we are also seeing, it's depending on the brand channels or categories. So for example, in some categories like travel or retail, we see even higher MFA sites for these kind of advertising, for example, compared to automotive and other categories. So also looking at the category, it's very important. And also, yeah, agree. So it's very important what we already said.
Yeah, and before we get, the reason I ask is because it's media quality is listed as one of the barriers, right, to programmatic, right? And I think it's quite important on a scale of 5, as we all agree, that that a solution for this reduces this barrier in a way. Hadi, what do you think should stakeholders in general, should they reconsider their approach to programmatic because of this MFAs or what?
No, I think the main point is that MFAs have a bad impact on the performance of a campaign. And with programmatic, you have the possibility to use data to optimize your campaign.
Interesting. Daria, I would really like to hear your opinion on this if you have.
Yeah, I think that in the end of the day, agencies and brands, they want to reach audiences. They are not really categorizing as if, I mean, they're not really looking at MFA, non-MFA. They are really looking to target audiences. And I think that as long as domain has got, any publisher has got good engagement, a healthy viewability rates, I think that, and you know, it's relevant in the vertical. I think that it should be led kind of in the open market, and what I think that what agencies and brands and buy side should do is that rely more on the technologies to really cherry pick these impressions and the audiences, because all of the brands and the buy side, they are really looking at the KPIs, and then they want volumes, and if we look at all of the landscape, you know, there are not really so many large publishers which can deliver billions of impressions a day. So then you need to kind of open up your barriers for a campaign, and then you need to look elsewhere. And I think that we need to invest more in the technology and filtering it out, and filtering out different IVT issues rather than blocking domains and labeling and categorizing, which is definitely one of the things that we need to do, but we need to really define some minimum quality threshold that domain should pass, and then all of the rest really rely on the technologies to filter out and cherry pick for us.
It's very interesting, and this is for you, Margarita, right? Like, so everything leads, in my opinion, everything points and leads towards ad fraud and transparency at scale. How significant would you say these concerns are? And in terms of ad fraud and transparency as well, in not just identifying but also providing solutions to this.
We would see it as two different subjects, ad fraud and transparency, because we identify ad fraud with our fraud solutions, and we are able to find on these sites any bot traffic or any site fraud or app fraud, like spoofed sites, for example. But from what we notice in the data, it's a really low percentage of fraud traffic on MFA sites. So the most users are real users, are human legitimate users that are on these sites, that came through paid traffic channels like social, like content engines, for example. And it's important to focus here indeed on transparency. So we see MFA as brand suitability topic, not as fraud topic. So it's important for every brand to define their level of transparency. As you said, we recommend not to have like very yes or no approach, not to exclude or include any sites. That's why we offer very nuanced categorization. We offer risk tiers. We offer categorization not just on the domain level, but on subdomain level, or any sections of the site are also classified. So every brand can really look at this data and see, is this domain, is this page suitable for me or not, or would I prefer to exclude it? And also just to comment on the audiences point, this is a really big plus of Programmatic to tap into the new audiences, into new potential consumers. And it's really important also to find long tail publishers, to find the sites like smaller sites or any sites that serve underrepresented groups, for example. And if you're using outdated approach like lists, and no inclusion list will contain these long tail publishers. That's why we recommend, of course, to avoid too strict exclusion lists for the reason that, as we said in the previous question, AI helps to generate the sites every minute. So no exclusion list will exclude all these new sites. That's why we see the key to transparency in categorization and in the data.
That's very interesting, actually. We're short on time, but a final question, I promise. What would be the key takeaway from this for you, right? And either on the challenges or as a solution, what would you advise stakeholders on MFAs? I'll just go from far right, far left.
Yes, so I think there are different points, and we are engaging agencies, for example, to use the technology that we are offering, especially for transparency, and to use data that is delivered by partners like you to detect everything that is disturbing the quality of your campaign, and uses to improve your complete buying process. So find another logic for KPIs that you are focusing on to optimize your campaign and performance, and use the tech to target it. And this is what we are doing at PubMatic. We are offering this this tool with transparency to be more in charge for the inventory access, and the possibility to use the data and knowledge for finding a better quality. But I think we have all the responsibility to keep our programmatic ecosystem clean and efficient.
Interesting. JP, do you want to?
100% agree. So it's a question for all of us, for the all key stakeholders in the environment, because we want to have the ad dollars to the right audience, to the right companies, and also to save the brand ROIs. And we would say, and we recommend always to use existing segments for avoidance made for advertising sites. If you are using this, so we see already great results in getting a shift to better quality sites, and also increasing conversions and decreasing costs, by the way. And also, I would also say what I mentioned before, it's not to choose between quality and cost efficiency. It's a mixture. And and that's just to learn to analyze and to shift the money from the MFA sites to good sites, to quality sites, and then we have everything for the environment.
I think that my main takeaway is that we need to really continue investing in the technological solutions to identify, to clean, to to fight with bad actors in the programmatic space. But at the same time, I think that the beauty of the programmatic is actually cherry picking the right users and the right audiences. So this is why I would really encourage to imply minimum boundaries on the creators, on the content, on the publisher who try to create and really to innovate and to bring value to the industry, take in the proportion, because we all agreed here, yes, that it's very important because it's very noisy these days, this year. But in terms of the ad spend, I'm not sure that it's really representative to how big noise it has created this year.
Margarita?
Absolutely agreed. Yes, look at your data as a brand or as an agency and get what you can from it. Decide which sites do you prefer to keep running on, which sites align with your business goals, and which sites would you prefer to exclude, and use modern approaches to it. Yeah, if you are a publisher, of course, improve your inventory, improve your traffic. We reclassify the sites all the time. So if you are classified as MFA, it doesn't mean you will stay there forever. As soon as the thing's approved, you will be out of this label, and or you will be moved to a less restrictive tier. So yeah, focus on improving the quality.
Interesting. So data deep dive, use of technology for the publishers' reclassifications. Interesting. Do we have any questions? No? All right. Rounds of applause to the guys. And
thank you so much for the panel and moderating this. That was really interesting, very insightful. And yeah, as a sales house standing for quality journalism, I have a high interest, obviously, in this kind of topic. And I could really learn a lot. Also, what we can avoid to evaluate basically programmatic notice chain with this kind of new technology.